Hello, welcome, Michael Coren Show, Tuesday, and what a blogging panel. We had our first blogging panel a couple of weeks ago. It seemed to go down very well. People got on. They were suing each other 2 hours later, but we won't get into those details now. A different group of people. Some are the same. Every now and again, we have these panels that every 3 or 4 weeks. Faith Matters, international politics, culture panel, blogging panel. Federal politics was one of those. Now, of course, with, I think it's the election, they call it, occurring, we'll have one of those every week. Indeed, there's one on Thursday. All these MPs who really want to come on the show these days. I wonder why. So, blogging panel, that's, by the way, 4 fairly young white guys. Is that typical? Yes. Let's introduce it. Jason Cherniak. JasonCherniak.com is the site, and liberal, very important, very significant, and you have power.
I don't know about that.
Oh, you do. You know you do, and you enjoy it. Jim Curran, whatdoiknowgrit.com, is that the actual site?
Whatdoiknowgrit.blogspot.com.
Okay, will .com get there?
Probably.
It's very complicated otherwise, isn't it? But Jim Curran will get them there, I should think. Okay.
Absolutely.
Andrew Prescott, ChristianConservative.ca. All right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Steve, is it Janke? Is that correct?
Janke.
Janke. Janke, okay. And he's angry. An angry Janke. Angry in the Great White North. SteveJanke.com.
That's right.
Okay, but they'll come up underneath you as the show goes on, so people can. I mean, I jokingly said 4 white guys in their 20s and 30s, but does that describe 99% of all bloggers?
No, certainly
really?
not.
I just wondered.
That often becomes a contentious issue when someone writes that online. Oh, it's all white men, and then all the women pipe up and say, no, that's not true at all. I think what you get is it depends on location partly. We're in Hamilton, who can make it, who's in school, who's not in school, and this time it just happens to be men. Now, there are more...
By the way, we're national. We've got basic cable in all of Alberta, and you've mentioned one little town in Ontario. Thank you for doing that.
But at the same time, there are more men who do it, so we have to be honest about that. I just think that if you look...
Are we talking, Jason, just about political blogging or blogging in general?
Political blogging,
right.
I'm talking about.
Let's be careful, because...
Let's be careful, yeah.
Well, there's so many types of the cat blogs, people who just write what their cats were doing that day, that kind of thing. Pardon me?
The naked knitting lady.
That's right.
Hold on, this is important. The naked knitting lady.
There's actually a blog, The Naked Knitting Lady. She gives knitting tips.
Nude.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but...
who are you kidding?
It's just a picture.
That's your wedding ring there, be honest. Yeah.
I think it's just a picture of her feet, actually. But
is it?
There's all kinds of blogs.
Cat blogging. We're doing a show on that, actually. No.
Is Stephen Harper a guest?
Oh, how amusing!
He loves cats. It's all over his website. It's to make him look softer and nicer. That's his whole strategy for the election.
He and his wife adopt cats and then foster them out from shelters.
Oh, good Lord.
It's something they've done for a long time.
I may have to vote NDP. They really do that.
Your tie would go well with that.
What are the major issues? I mean, you're political bloggers, so I assume that this is a pretty obvious question. The major issues right now, the election.
Of course. If you're talking about policy issues, the carbon tax, which we now can call the green shift, without stepping on Jennifer Wright's toes, is one of the defining...
dull.
Is one of the defining...
That's what people are blogging about.
No, actually, I think most people are blogging about tactical stuff, how the campaigns are actually running. Are the Liberals truly stumbling out of the gate, or is it just that they've planned a modest start and they're ramping up? Are the Tories really racing to a win, or are they peaking too quickly? That kind of thing. So,
why do we need bloggers for that? I mean, people, if they're interested, know that it's fairly obvious. The Liberals aren't doing well at the moment, may do better. Tories doing well now, may decline.
Well, it's really interesting because I think what you'll find people are interested in blogs about is because you get more everyday people rather than just the polished look, the view of the parties that they're trying to put out. We have people that are working on campaigns that are telling you the real sort of what they're seeing on the ground in their particular writings.
It's a frankness.
But hold on, just before you go on, this is an era in which we can fool ordinary people are going to work, listening to music, playing with their kids, are far more interested in Sarah Palin than they are in Canadian politics. Politicians and bloggers, you're part of the same it's a symbiosis here. You're not ordinary people. You're obsessed with politics.
We're politicos. I mean, our particular group of bloggers are politicals, and we write mostly about politics. But I mean, we also write about everyday affairs too. We've written about in my case, my newborn.
Congratulations!
Thank you. But we've written about many things. It just happens that we are political junkies, whether we like them or not.
But the point I was making was the idea that the blogs are this conduit for ordinary people as opposed to the establishment. Is that actually true? Because you're not ordinary people. You're very, very concerned with Canadian politics. Most people, frankly, aren't, and why should they be?
Everyone has different eccentricities. Some people watch racing. Some people watch football constantly all weekend. Some people are obsessed with cats or knitting naked. I think what we happen to be is we happen to be the people that are interested in politics and what's happening in the nation, what's going to affect us and our children and our children's children. And is that what everyone does? No, but I think it's something that's important. And when it comes right down to it, the people who are running the country should be the people who think about these things regularly. So it's different, but everyone's different in some way. This is just what our difference is.
Well, isn't that? We're all different in some way.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. So touchy. I know. Let's go to a break with that thought. We're all different, but we're all lovable in our own way, apart from me. Back in a few moments on the Coren Show. We'll see you very soon. Welcome back, Michael Curran Show, blogging. Our second blogging show, and we were a bit concerned about having a show on blogging because do people really care? I mean, let's be absolutely straight with you here. Do people out there watch TV? I mean, ordinary people, I consider myself part of that group, but I do have a TV show. Do they read blogs? Do they really care what is on a blog? Political bloggers, I understand the politicians have been told the blogs are important. Mm-hmm. But is there the possibility that the only people, and there are a lot of them going to blogs, but the only people going to blogs are other bloggers and those who have been told that blogging is actually significant?
I don't think that's what's happening. My experience, I've been doing it for over 3 years now, is that media in Ottawa started reading them because other people were already reading them. And they said, okay, we've got to figure out what's going on here. So when I went to my first Liberal convention following the last election, there were a whole number of people who said, oh, Jason, I read your blog. And I really, like, it never occurred to me that people would actually know who I was. And within political circles of people who follow politics, not just media, but average people who volunteer during an election campaign or do some other small sort of thing for the party or big thing for the party, are following it. And that's why it's important for media and people watching the news to know what's going on.
And I'll second what Jason was saying. You were pointing, earlier you were saying a relationship between the bloggers and the political parties. There's also a strong, maybe even stronger relationship between the bloggers and the media, which you touched upon. And I think there's a conduit, like you said, maybe not too many people directly read the blogs. I mean, I get 100,000 hits a month, which is pretty moderate. But any influence I might have, in driving a story, which every once in a while I get lucky and I actually manage to pick something that I write about and it turns out to have some legs. When the media picks that up and takes off, then I know I've made some sort of difference. I actually have influenced a lot of people indirectly. The media is still the major player here, the conduit for all this.
Give me an example of where you've... And you were being falsely modest there, quite obviously. 100,000 a month is a great many. A story that you've influenced.
The aircraft story recently. The business about the aircraft being flown by the major parties. I'm an engineer, so Saturday morning when I found out what aircraft they were flying, I figured out exactly which models they were flying and then did an analysis of their cost and fuel rate burns. And honestly, that was just red meat for my readers. I just thought they would, enjoy a little bit of technical gossip about how polluting various aircraft are.
Doesn't?
But yeah, exactly. But this is 4 days after I wrote that, and I'm still seeing that commentary on major. Let me
ask you this: why didn't you write that and be paid $300 or $400 as a column for the Globe or the Post or the Star?
That's a question I get from my wife quite often.
I'm not trying to be condemning, but and you would have a. Look, however good the blogs are, when you're in print in a major newspaper, there's certain credibility.
Of course.
And they give you money to be...
I have written a few paid columns for the National Post, not one quite some time. It's fun to do. I would love to do this kind of thing full time. For me, a good day is when I get $5 through Google AdSense. So obviously this is a hobby. This is not a day job.
Do you want to cut my backyard grass for $5?
Exactly. For all that effort, and I get maybe